Bet on Bears fans, another edition of the Chicago Bears podcast coming your way. Pat the designer, Shea Norling back in the building. Another offseason week. I'm not gonna lie to you, the offseason's a little smoother when you don't suck and have to argue about every single position. I said this.
And when you don't have players going to prison for the rest of their lives, potentially.
Oh, well, listen, I mean, it's been an interesting offseason for some teams in the NFC. Let's say that. Hey, I thought what was not funny about that. That was
there's nothing funny about it. It sucks.
But I mean, the Gridiron Gang team in prison at this point is going to be pretty elite. I mean, you got Henry Ruggs still in there. You're going to have never mind. We're not going to dive into that. But
allegedly,
you're
going to have Terry and Arnold.
It seems like he's going to be. I mean.
It seemed like when it happened.
You have that much money, you got to be a little smart.
When it happened, it seemed like, okay, this isn't going to end well. I didn't think it would go to this.
This is the sad part and the sad reality of football, which is I shouldn't say football. The sad reality of sports. The first thought that I had when I saw everything that was stacked against him wasn't, hey, you should lock this guy away for the rest of his life because clearly he's got this is something that you can't overcome. It was he's not good enough to overcome. That was my first thought.
Yeah, that does suck.
With everything with the James Pierce situation, that's a guy that I was like, he's going to get thrown under the jail. And then I went and looked at James Pierce last season. I was like, well,
dude,
10.5 sacks in his rookie year. He's probably going to get off of that.
It's one of the things that it sucks to even say it, but there's no real morality in sports.
No.
If you're good enough, you can be bad.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'm not making light of the Terry and Arnold thing, but I brought it up because it is the Packers are dealing with stuff with Micah Parsons where he's going to miss half the season. Yep. The Packers still don't have a ton of clarity on the Josh Jacobs front. Yep. The Lions have anything but clarity on the Terry and Arnold front, which seems like it's going down a pretty dark road. And
even if it doesn't, he's not going to be there for you for the season more than likely.
Right. The hearing today is that the prosecutor wants to keep him in jail until the trial, which would probably mean, in my best guess, you're going to miss the entire season, if not the rest of your career, assuming that's the way it goes. But I bring it up because the Bears, all of the Bears things this offseason are on the field.
Yeah.
We have questions about the defensive line. That's about it. And everything else is pretty kosher. And that's been really nice that there's not some dramatic, quarterback conversation. There's not some dramatic off the field story. Everything is on the field. Yeah. That's the way I like it.
And even the stuff that is on the field, Shea, I talked about this Friday when we had Hayes fill in with us. EO brought us the topic of every offseason we've done this pretty much since we've done the pod, the on the bubble guys. And as I started thinking about it, I had to text him back, and I was like, EO, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not doing a podcast on the third string running back.
I know.
Team.
I know.
I don't care about the on the bubble guys. Not to say I don't care. Listen, become the Nashawn Wright of this year, right, and make us care. But the reality is there's no one that's on the bubble that has to play an impact role on this team. Yep. Versus years past when we were talking about on the bubble guys, we were like, he might be the starting left tackle.
It's been a quiet offseason, and it's refreshing to have a quiet offseason. It makes what we do more difficult because we have to find things to talk about, but I think it's better for the football team that there is no, we don't have a diva wide receiver who's doing off-field nonsense to try to get traded. Shout out A.J. Brown. Yeah. Or then leaving the facility, signing a photo of himself saying, best to ever do it here, always open. You're not the best to ever do it there. We don't have to deal with any of that. Yeah. And it's been really nice to just know that now we have the stadium stuff, but at the end of the day, that's a different thing. It's nice to know that the football side of this is clean as a whistle.
And I would say even with the stadium stuff, I think the reality is people care until you explain until I ask this question. How many games you going to?
I know.
And then it seems like no one really cares. I think we all care because team not in Chicago, the history, the childhood that we all grew up with of the team being here. But then when you go, well, how many games are you going to a year? It was like, well, yeah. And I've expanded it out. I said, in 5 years, how many Bears games do you think you'll go to? And most people say 1. And I'm like, how much is it going to impact your life? Well, none.
even more on-field stuff. Like, we've heard nothing, and I kind of expected we would hear something about it, but we've heard nothing about a potential Jalen Johnson holdout.
Nope.
He's
been there.
None of it.
Yeah.
Everybody's kind of locked in, and whether they'll be like, I think they're a contending team entering the season, whether they'll match that and be Super Bowl quality, we'll see. But there's nothing off the field that I would change the way I look at it. And that's not true for everyone in this division. And I think it's huge that the Bears are the team. There are very few question marks. And the question marks are things we know. Is this defensive line good enough?
Yeah. And the reality is, right, like, it's a team, whether it is good enough or not, it's a team that's locked in right now to get it right. Like,
and
that's the difference.
It also lets you trust the football decision makers that they're going to have an easy time making the decisions they have to make because there is no nonsense.
Yeah.
Everybody's on the same page.
You're not living it. And I think it's because of, listen, like, when there is nonsense, I'll be very honest with you. Let's say Terry and Arnold, goes through this entire process and everything is, swept under the rug. I don't think that the evidence isn't going to say that he's exonerated. But let's say it gets swept under the rug. There's a payout situation, blah, blah, blah. I think he's done being a Lion.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I think the system that Dan Campbell runs, very similar to a Ben Johnson system. Hey, you doing stuff like that, you messing up, because now you're messing up what the team is, we'll get you up out of here.
I don't want to speculate on it too much because obviously it's still in play legally and who knows what, and there's a lot of, like, if you've been following it, it's a sad story, man. But it is ultimately like, we don't have to talk about stuff like that. And while we might have to dig a little deeper or be a little more creative in coming up with what we're going to talk about, at least everything we get to do is fun. That's not fun. There's a lot of NFL teams that their off seasons are not fun.
We've had a lot of years of not fun.
Yeah, and it's nice to, like, everything we get to do is lighthearted and fun.
By the way, Bears Twitter, come back. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I don't know if you see this in the circles. There are some people that don't know how to be excited on Bears Twitter without arguing. Like, there are some people on Bears Twitter that, like, the bigger profile, like, they don't know what to do without a real argument this offseason. Like, you have to agree with like, when I see, and this is what I mean by this, when I see, full-on threads about why Kyle Monangai should be the starting running back, and there's people going back and forth who are, listen, whether you believe it or not, but, like, when there's, like, Justin Fields, Caleb Williams level anger going back and forth, I'm just like, guys, they both play here.
Well,
they're both going to get a bunch of touches.
We could do an hour on how much, like, you can't get anybody to agree on anything. Like, especially online now, Twitter, forget it, dude. It's just the most toxic environment. Nobody's ever happy with anything anyone has to say.
Does this say more about us as people? Because Threads is a better option. I've been on Threads. It's much calmer. There's much more agreement. People have discourses that come to an end, but I don't want to leave Twitter.
I know I can't.
I can't personally.
I can't log off either. It sucks, but I can't log off. No, but it is like, I can't stand. We could do an hour on it, and I don't want to. We got better stuff to do. But it is like, sports is a great reflection of how society can agree on absolutely nothing. Because, like, we fixed, right, balls and strikes. We have ABS challenges, and it is what it is. If it clips the zone, it's a strike. And now you got people are like, well, it should be 50% of the ball is in the zone. And I'm like, well, then you're just making a smaller strike zone, and it's clipping a smaller part of it. Can we just stop offsides in soccer? They're like, the toenail over is against the spirit of the rule. I don't love that that's the way it is, but if you change it so that the full body has to be over, will we have a point then where, like, you're on sides because a fingernail was on sides? You just move where the line is.
I will say.
The rule is the rule. We can evaluate it perfectly. Why are we arguing about this?
Now, this is the one where realistically the rest of the world does not care about America in this at all. But I think you get a lot more American fan base, because my mind does go to so often, what was offsides? What just happened?
I know.
How did he?
I know.
How was that a call? Every time I watch.
I know.
And now you've explained to me how it works, and I'm like, okay, I can kind of follow it. I see. No, he's still in front of that guy. Oh, well, his shoelace aglet actually got offsides on that. Well, it blows my mind with that. But hey, you talk about having fun topics. I think today we have a very fun topic. We got two fun topics, honestly. I thought this was a great one that Eric brought to the table talking about not just this year, but moving forward with the Chicago Bears. When you're ranking quarterbacks, and this is the craziest thing that we could be in this conversation, how many guys in the NFC right now would you want over Caleb Williams as you head into your next 3 seasons? I thought that this was so interesting because I think there are guys that we can say coming into this season, Shea, yeah, I'd give him the edge over Caleb.
Yep.
But
over the next
I started
3?
running through the list, I don't know if there's a lot of quarterbacks we say NFC, I'll give you in football, that I want over Caleb Williams over the next few years. I've got the list of quarterbacks here going forward, projected starting quarterbacks from just about every single team here in the NFC. And I mean, we can just do a quick run through.
I'm just going to first blush. If you're telling me I have a quarterback locked up for the next 3 seasons, yes, Caleb is probably the one I'm taking in the NFC.
It's kind of insane.
Which is different because, if you asked me just 2026, based on nothing but what we have seen, no future casting, yeah, I think I'd still take Goff. I'd absolutely take Stafford. I think Caleb and Love would be a push. But they're in different situations. Like for Love, it's shit or get off the pot. Yeah. And for Caleb, it's let's go. It's go time. Pedal to the metal. But if you over the next 3 years, no shot I'm taking Goff, no shot I'm taking Stafford, no shot I'm taking Jordan Love. Over Caleb, no. Dak, no.
Dak is the one that I was intrigued by just because, I'll be honest with you, Dak's the one quarterback in this league that I don't know how to quantify because I do think that he is more talented than the guy that I usually compare him to. But I always say Dak Prescott's Black Kirk Cousins.
Yeah,
I've always said this.
I think that's fair.
But I think Dak is exponentially more talented, and I think he is the NFC version of what we have seen play out in the AFC, where there's always an argument for the other thing being why Dak didn't do more versus that. So like Lamar Jackson, right? There's always if Mark Andrews holds on to that football,
mm-hmm,
they're probably competing for the Super Bowl that season. With Josh Allen, name any situation you want with Josh Allen, right? Like his entire career is Sisyphus, essentially.
If Dawson Knox catches the ball at the end of the Chiefs game, they might have lifted the Lombardi trophy.
You know what I mean?
But things went a little different.
I feel like
if the defense doesn't give it up after 13 seconds, they might have won the Super Bowl.
I feel like that is the conversation around Dak with a lot of things that have happened in Dallas.
The problem is Dak has multi-interception meltdowns. Yeah. You know who he is? He's NFC Justin Herbert.
Oh, that's a take. That's a good take.
They're both regular season darlings. Yeah. They both start the season almost every year as this guy's going to be an MVP finalist. Inevitably, they have a blow up. Yeah, inevitably though, there's a blow up somewhere along the line, and then you get to the playoffs and it's like a nightmare. It's like a scene out of a horror movie.
But I think that I wouldn't say Herbert, right? Because I don't think there's an expectation going into the game that Dak's going to be the problem. We have seen games where Dak is the problem.
Yeah,
and it's been bad.
Green Bay at home,
100%.
2 years ago,
we have seen those games 100%. But I think we have seen Dak play well, and there's a lot of the other stuff, right? What was it? Dallas versus Philly? And what was the coach that was there?
Mike McCarthy.
Mike McCarthy called one of the worst football games I've ever seen in my life.
Sure.
Right, we're sitting there just going, why are you not putting the ball in your quarterback who's an MVP candidate's hands? Why are you trying to run it when you don't have the offensive line? I feel like there's a lot of other around it. Justin Herbert, I expect to have a bad playoff game. I have never seen him not have a bad playoff game. I expect him to throw the costly interception. I hate to say it. He is Phillip Rivers. He's more talented, probably, if you take everything together. But he is Phillip Rivers. But getting back to the topic at hand, Shea, I'll expound it out. Because we say NFC over the next 3 years, I don't think there's a quarterback.
No, I think it's
you go through.
I think it's way more interesting to do the NFL.
The NFL as a whole, 3 years out. I kind of feel the same way And maybe that is insane to say. Justin Herbert is a guy that's on that list, but I kind of just gave you my feelings on that. Pat Mahomes over the next 3 years, maybe you can still put him up there, but we haven't seen what Pat Mahomes is going to be with Travis Kelce being the version of him that he was last year. We haven't seen how that's going to expound out over the next 3 years. Aaron Rodgers, I'm nothing on. Daniel Jones, man. CJ Stroud.
No.
Do we think CJ is who he is shown to be over the last?
I've seen no reason to believe he's going to get better. He's doing a lot of podcasts talking about how good he is.
Yeah.
Now, this is the first.
He's always top 5.
This is the first offseason he's kind of not shown up on podcasts talking about how good he is.
Yeah.
So maybe he's taking football a little more seriously or taking his development a little more seriously. No, I think it's the usual suspects. Now, I'm not going to put Joe Burrow on the list because I'm more willing than others to start being critical of Joe Burrow.
Listen.
And best ability is availability. A part of why he hasn't been available is because he takes awful sacks. And it doesn't. I don't know that he's going to be around in 3 years. So Joe Burrow's not.
How I feel about it.
Joe Burrow's not one. But like, I can't say I'd rather have Caleb than Josh Allen for the next 3 seasons yet. I can't say I'd rather have him than Patrick Mahomes yet. I think the 2 really interesting names would be Drake May and Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. I'm easily over on Trevor though. Like Trevor had a bounce back season last year. I thought Trevor had a season that proved to me
he was an MVP finalist.
You're an NFL quarterback. Like you're supposed to be here.
He was outstanding last year.
Very, very good last year. And I think that this is probably who he's going to be for. Although he did cut the golden lock, so I don't know if how that's gonna work with the new haircut.
I have a better time believing in Trevor Lawrence because I think Liam Cohen.
Okay.
I think Liam Cohen proved he's a good play caller.
Yes.
And we know Lawrence has that pedigree. Not that Drake May doesn't, but we know Lawrence was that generational tag. He has the pedigree as one of those kinds of prospects. There was the great season the first year with Doug Peterson. I had a lot of qualms with Doug Peterson giving the play sheet over to Press Taylor because some of those games, if you watched them, you're like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
But last year, Trevor Lawrence was outstanding with Liam Cohen. And I kind of believe that that's the way it's going to look going forward. He was an MVP finalist. I'm not telling you he's going to be an MVP finalist, but I think Caleb, Trevor Lawrence, Drake May, I'd put all 3 of them in that same bucket of like, if I'm looking for a guy right behind Allen and Mahomes and Lamar, maybe Lamar's even in the same bucket as Lawrence, May, and Caleb. Yeah. That like those are the tier below for the next 3 seasons. Those are the guys I'm looking at as I would take them over anyone not named Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes.
Here's the thing for me with Caleb. And listen, like it's going to sound crazy because Patrick Mahomes is, if he continues a winning pace like he has done in his career, he's probably going to go down as the greatest quarterback that we have ever seen. Some people would make that argument now already, although I still got Brady. You got a few more rings to win there. I think Josh Allen is elite conversation. But to me, I look at the pairing, and I don't think that there's a better pairing in football right now than Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson. Now, again, you can still make that argument for Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes, but talent-wise, I think the only person nearly as talented, if you're talking about all the physical tools, being able to escape, being able to make just about every throw on the football field while still being able to use your feet to create for your team as well, I think you could say Lamar. I think he's probably the only person that I would say competes talent-wise with Caleb. But Lamar don't got a Ben Johnson.
No.
And so, like, to me, if you're talking about the most talented quarterback, and he's got to prove it. Year 1 or year 2 was great. Can you make year 3 that? But over the next 3 years, if you tell me the most talented quarterback is with arguably, I think people probably now would say the second or third best play caller in football, I would feel like that's the matchup that I would want over the next 3 years. I don't think Josh Allen has that. I think he's elite. He's one of the best guys that we've seen throw football. I don't think he has that. I think that Pat Mahomes is about to go through a change that he hasn't really had to experience to this point where you got to focus on somebody besides Travis.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be the first real year of, like, you're going into the season saying Travis isn't a guy, or Travis isn't the guy, he's a guy. I would say Lamar, I mean, you got all the same questions you had every year to this point. Like, MVP candidate, I love you, but can you finally get the job done?
I'd put Lamar, not to the same extent, but in that same bucket as Jared Goff and Jordan Love, where, like, now obviously Lamar's got much greater career achievement. I'm not saying anything against that. But to me, they're in the same caliber of quarterback where, like, if you're future casting this, if you're looking over the next 3 to 5 seasons, those guys are in the pressure cooker of, like, you've been around a while and it's been nothing but playoff failure. It's time. Yeah. Especially Jordan Love, who just, like, the interception against the Niners and then bowing out as the 7th seed in 2 consecutive seasons in the first round. All he's been as the 7th seed. Dude, it's time. We got to get a deep playoff run here. Goff has made an NFC title game and a Super Bowl back with the Rams. They vomited down their shirt in the NFC title against San Francisco. It's time. Like, if there's ever a year, it's now. And Lamar, we know. If you're going to get the job done, it's got to happen. Yeah. Because I'm getting tired of seeing them. For as much as, like, if Mark Andrews catches that ball, well, if Lamar doesn't throw 2 god-awful interceptions in the first half, the game's not even in question at that point. So, for me, it's like those
three. In the red zone, right? I think both of those picks were in the red zone?
I think
one for sure.
I think one of them was like a really bad deep ball.
Was it a deep ball?
But I don't remember exactly. They were both so bad. No, but for Caleb and for Drake May to like Trevor Lawrence, same thing. Yeah. Those 3 guys, it's like, okay, we believe you're the guy. Now let's see what's next. Yeah. They haven't been around long enough for me to feel like it's time. We've heard about you for too long. You got to do something. So it works kind of in their benefit. Yeah. That they're younger and less experienced. Now, Lawrence has been in the league longer, obviously.
5 years now?
And he's on a big deal. Yeah. So he's in that closer to that other bucket of, like, now they're paying you, it's time to go. But we saw it last year. And there's no reason to think, really, that it'll come back to earth other than we've seen that happen before. I just don't believe it's going to happen again. May and Caleb, it's like, what's next? And if you asked me right now to rank who's better, Drake May or Caleb Williams, I'd have no choice but to say Drake May. He was stellar last year. He went to the Super Bowl,
and he had nothing in front.
Team accomplishment more than anything, and they had some luck playing the teams that they did on their way. But he was also an MVP finalist. He finished second in MVP voting. He was tremendous throughout the regular season. I think he was the most accurate quarterback, or the second most accurate quarterback in all of football last year. But if you asked me to pick going forward, Caleb or Drake May, I'd probably pick Caleb. And a lot of it is because I have more questions about Josh McDaniels as a play caller for Drake May. I have more questions about what they look like up front. Well, that
was the only reason I was saying May is probably close, because I think Josh McDaniels has done this before.
If I'm putting McDaniels up against Ben Johnson, though, I'm taking Ben Johnson.
This is no knock to Ben, but man,
the only play caller.
There's a lot of championships on Josh McDaniels' play call.
For sure, but there's
a lot of really good. Like, as much as we give credit to Bill Belichick for winning some of those, there's a lot of Brady's the guy.
Okay,
because of what Josh was able to help with.
Give Ben Johnson Tom Brady.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's, as far as building a scheme and running an offense, Sean McVay's the only guy I'm taking ahead of Ben Johnson right now. Yeah. And even that, I'm starting to be like, after what McVay put on the field against the Bears, part of me is like, I might put Ben Johnson ahead of him now. That was a joke of a game plan by McVay.
It was interesting. I think he definitely felt like, and he's talked about it, he was like, we got to build out. You know what I mean? We didn't put our best foot forward going into that game. But, man, that's tough. Like, I give May that because of McDaniels. Like, I've seen Josh McDaniels do this now with, I mean, I guess if we want to include Jacoby Brissett in there, you can say 4 quarterbacks, where he's taken a quarterback and he's elevated his offensive game to something we didn't think was going to happen. I guess 5, right? Even when he had, who was almost Rookie of the Year for the Patriots? Why am I blanking?
What?
Before Drake May. Quarterback before Drake May.
Oh, Mac Jones?
Mac Jones. When Mac Jones had the
Mac Jones!
Mac Jones! And then they decided, we lost McDaniels, so we're going to...
Yeah, but that was
coordinator.
That was right. That was stupid.
No, but I think that is right. You saw what Mac Jones. And Mac Jones has been a lot of other places.
Sure.
If you're that good of a quarterback, if you're a rookie of the year quarterback, you'll find your way back into a starting position. We haven't seen him do that as of yet. So I give him credit for like the names that we thought were squalor or like, this guy, we're not even worried about him. And then he goes out there and dots you up. I give you credit for being able to get the most out of those because we've seen that a ton. And I think we're seeing that again here with Drake May. Not that nobody believed in May. May was a top pick.
Of course.
But Josh, I think a lot of people looked at May and were like, well, he's obviously not the pick that you should make in any round with Caleb Williams. And then you watched last season and you were like, okay, May might be a little better than we thought he was.
He's very good.
Yes.
He's extremely good. And this is like, but if you're giving me the next 3 years again, I'd probably take Caleb.
Yeah.
And it's in part, I think Caleb is a better play caller. I think Caleb's going to have a better offensive line.
That I agree with heavily.
And it's also contextualizing what May did. And then, like, I can't take anything away from it. It's why if you rank people today, and I think you're empirical about it, there's no way you could put Caleb in front of May. Yeah. But if you contextualize what it happened against, you're never getting a schedule that easy again, ever in the NFL. It was the easiest schedule in like 50 years. Yeah. So go repeat it. Now you've got a first place schedule. Now life's getting a little real. Yeah. And that's no different than for Caleb, where now you're getting a first place schedule. But we saw Caleb do it in big moments on the biggest stage at the end of the season, at the end of the game, rather, like completing these miracle passes, displaying his athleticism.
And we didn't see that from May.
No.
The reality is that May didn't have a great playoffs.
And so to be fair, Caleb also threw 5 interceptions in the playoffs. Yeah. So the playoff stuff, I just kind of put it as a wash. I'm not defending May. He was horrific in the playoffs. Just awful. Especially the Super Bowl was just miserable. Yeah. But it's not like Caleb was Josh Allen in the playoffs either. He had really big moments, really big throws. But again, that's where it leads me to, like, if I had to pick a guy for the next 3 years, I would lean Caleb.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I mean, listen, I think I've said it. Like, there's not a lot of QBs that I would really give a massive conversation to. I think May's one of them. But, like, when you pair talent up with coaching, like, I think you've got the right mix here in Chicago. And the one thing that I really, like, you hit the nail on the head when you talked about show me that you can do it again. What we saw from Drake May and the Patriots last year, I thought it was phenomenal. It was a great run. The schedule, it is what it is. Listen, I watched Tom Brady essentially get 6 games a year gifted to him because he played in a division that was squalor the entire time. So, like, on the flip side of that, when the big moments happened, were you beating the best teams in football? Brady could also do that as well. Well, I think when you talk about repeatability, Caleb's talent is repeatable. Is what the Patriots did last year, which, like you said, very team aspect there, defense-led, I think, in a lot of situations. Is that going to be repeatable going into this coming season versus, can Caleb be amazing? Sure. Can he also now, probably that he understands the system, hit on the easy stuff that we were pissed about him missing on last year? More than likely, if he's any kind of quarterback to be reckoned with, I would assume he's going to get those now. Well,
and that's the key, is the repeatability. I've said it. I don't think what the Bears did last season is repeatable in the way that they won games. But I also have said I believe this offense can and will be better. Yeah. And I believe Caleb will be more consistent. And I believe that they won't be in a position to have to save games or rescue games as often as they were last season. I don't know that they'll win as many games as they did last season. Because, again, life gets a little tougher. And you can't win games the way you did last year on a consistent basis in the NFL. But you can start blowing teams out. Yeah. Or you can start being good over 4 quarters instead of 1 quarter.
That'd be nice. I'd take 3.
Where, like, the Patriots side of things and the May side of things, I don't buy it's repeatable because they're never going to have a schedule like that again. And last year I said, this Patriots team I think could win the AFC East. This year they're going to be one of the hardest fades that I have. We can get to that maybe in a couple weeks, but I will be on the win total under. I will be fading them to win that division. I do not believe in them. I don't love the A.J. Brown acquisition. I think they're going to be a little distracted with what's going on off the field with their – speaking of not having off-field things to talk about – I think there's a little bit of a distraction going on in New England, and that schedule's getting real.
Well, let me ask this though, right? If we're having that conversation, do the supporting parts now make you feel better about the Bears than it does about, I guess, any of the other teams or any of the other quarterbacks that we would bring up there? Because I think there's a conversation on that as well, right? I think Colston Loveland's going to be able to split outside a lot more this year, which means DeAndre Swift is going to be your safety blanket. He's really good at that. If you just play him underneath and you say, hey, I'm open, throw me the football, he can make something out of nothing. If you cover DeAndre Swift, that means Luther Burden's probably open. If Roma Dunze has the season that we've been expecting him to have, or I should say the full season, because he didn't have the first half of the year last year, that we've been waiting for him to have, to me, I don't think that there's a better supporting cast in football right now. Even to talk about some of the big guys, right? Of all the names that we have, Caleb Williams might have the best offensive line of the bunch, even without having the left tackle solidified.
So I won't go so far as to say it's the best supporting cast. I don't think that's the case. I don't think they're on the level of the Rams. I don't really think they're on the level of the Lions on a proven ability standpoint. You don't have a Jahmyr Gibbs. You don't have I think Luther Burden could be Amon-Ra St. Brown, but he's not yet. You don't have a Jameson Williams. Colston Loveland's probably better than Sam Laporta at this point, especially coming off the injury, but that's about it. I don't know that it's on the level of the Bengals, but do I think the Bengals offensive line is good enough for the supporting cast to matter? That's another question. I think they're probably in that top 10 range as far as the group around goes. Yeah. I'll put it this way. If you told me Caleb has the Rams offense, he's number one with a bullet going forward for the next 3 years. You're giving me Puka, you're giving me Devontae Adams, you're giving me Blake Corum and Kyron Williams.
Field questions with
Puka? Well,
we got a biter.
You see how nice it is we don't have these off-field things to talk about?
I just like that it's not off the field and weird.
I mean, even think
like off the field issues is one thing, but don't give it easy ammunition for people to make fun of our team.
But even then, think teams that have supporting casts in place and don't have a quarterback. Yeah. The Falcons. Yeah. If you gave Caleb Bijan Robinson and Kyle Pitts and Drake London and that O-line, forget it.
He's dominated.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I don't think the Bears have the best, but I think they have the scheme fit. I think they have the coach to get it done, and I think they'll get a left tackle in place, drafted a center high, and I love Luther Burden. Yeah. So they're as close to it as any. But if you have to be real, if you could swap out the Bears supporting cast on offense for the Rams supporting cast on offense, you'd do it.
For the next 3 years, though?
Maybe not for the next three, for this year.
For this year, sure. I think if we're having a conversation on this year, there's a lot of names I would take. But if we're talking about keeping with the topic for the next 3 seasons.
It's too hard. I don't know what that's going to look like.
Yeah.
I don't know if Rome's going to be here. I don't know if they'll draft another receiver. It's
more than likely they're going to draft another receiver.
I don't know.
I think this is going to become wide receiver.
How long is Swift going to be here? Who's their running back going to be? It's too hard for me to take that 3 years out and say, well, I have the best skill position group in football.
My biggest hope over the next 3 years, and this is hilarious to say, is that we will be in a position where we can take a running back and none of us will be pissed about it. Because if you're in that position, that means you have all the holes answered just about, right? That's when everybody came out this year, it was the Bears should try their best to get Jeremiah Love. It's okay, first off, the amount of draft capital it would take to get there would be insane, but I'm not ready to go get a running back. I'm not ready to invest at that level. When you get to the point where, and I guess Detroit was there and we didn't know it, where you can say, I want Jahmyr Gibbs. Well, maybe Detroit was there and we didn't know it, because now it seems like probably could have used that pick on some defensive pieces there. It could have helped you out.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if they'll ever be in a position where I'm take a running back, because, look, Jahmyr Gibbs is wonderful. He's elite. Arguably the best running back in football. Are they going to give him another contract? I don't know. Same deal with Bijan Robinson in Atlanta. He's, if not the best, the second best running back in football. Yeah. Are you going to give him another contract? What have you won? That's it. The Chiefs won a Super Bowl.
It's so crazy because
the Chiefs won a Super Bowl and took Clyde Edwards-Helaire with the 31st pick. You wish they could have that one back?
Yeah. It's so interesting that we've hit this spot with the running back. I do think it's starting to swing back the other direction. I think Saquon helped with that massively. The fall off of Saquon. We got to learn how we talk about football, by the way. Like, yeah, he didn't have 2,000 yards. Saquon Barkley had a pretty good season last year.
He was good.
When you look at,
he was fine.
He was still a pretty good running back last season. But like, I think that the change is coming, but it's only if the Bears continue to hit on their offensive line pieces that you'd be in a conversation like that of keep Swift if you wanted to keep Swift. Like, you have to, Ozzie Trapillo has to come back and be healthy. And be, I'd say 80% of what he was, because I don't think he'll ever get back to 100% with that injury. You maybe I would hope you have your answer at center with Logan Jones. I think that right tackle is solved with Darnell Wright. Right guard, I like what we have there. I also am not overly emphasizing, that I need the best guard playing football to be there. It'd be nice to have, but if you give me solid production at that spot, I'm okay with that. Left guard, you got Joe Thuney. 2 more years at best. Like, I would think, of course, he's playing this year, but like, if I'm the Bears, I'm re-signing him until the wheels fall off.
He's the best player on the team.
Yeah.
And he's shown no signs of slowing down.
I would be late to the Joe Thuney party if I could. Like, it would be a year, and it doesn't mean don't draft the guy behind him.
Sure.
But there's going to come a year, if I'm the GM, where we go, ooh, that was okay. All right, we're going to have to start making a change here. We're going to have to change the things.
Well, and I always think with O-line, you're better off replacing them early than late.
Yeah.
Because you look at what happened in Detroit, they had the best offensive line in football, and they thought they were good to go, and then Frank Ragnow retired, and they didn't have anyone in the pipeline, and oh boy, they are suddenly far from the best offensive line in football.
Yeah, I think that's
so. It's not like
you got to have somebody in the pipeline. Like,
right.
You should be thinking about Joe Thuney right now.
I'm not racing to move on from him, but I should be thinking about his future all the time.
100%. 100%. We'll see what ends up happening. Let us know how you guys feel down in the comments below. Do you like Caleb Williams as the best quarterback for the next 3 years? Do you think that he's the answer? Or you feel like there's some other guys that you would still take over him? Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Let's finish it out with this, Shea, because I thought this was shocking based on just about everyone at ESPN Chicago, probably, and how they talk about Montez Sweat, even some guys that have played in the league, and how they talk about Montez Sweat. Montez Sweat voted as the 91st best player in football by his peers. The Pro Insight that I thought was very interesting was on 4 pressures this season that Montez Sweat had. There were 4 turnovers that ensued off of those pressures, and that was the Pro Insight given with that. When you saw him come up as the 91st best player in football, were you a little surprised?
I don't pay attention to the NFL player voted list. They had Bryce Young as the 99th best player in football.
I mean, no, you got to pay attention to the guys that are going against them on the field.
Now, you and I didn't play in the league, so I'm not like, I just don't care about this.
Yeah.
Like, how often do we see the NBA players vote and you look at the list and you're like, what the hell are they on?
Yeah.
Not that we know better. I'm not saying that, but it's not, I don't have to assign value to this. Yeah. Bryce Young is not one of the 100 best players in the league. I don't care what the players say. It's my opinion. It's my opinion, and I'm allowed to have it. If the players say he's one of the 100 best players in the league, then I don't understand. Maybe I don't know ball. That's okay too.
Well, I think this is the thing too.
But he's not.
Our opinion is not based off of just numbers. And like, listen, I do agree with kind of what Jaylen Brown just said. Right, analytics aren't everything. I think they're very important, but at a certain point, if it's the fourth quarter and the analytics say, "Hey, X, Y, and Z is really good at stopping Jaylen Brown," and then Jaylen Brown drops 25 on him in the fourth quarter, you weren't very good at stopping Jaylen Brown in that moment, right? So the analytics were wrong in that moment.
What about the analytics that say over the last 10 years the Celtics have been better with him off the floor than on?
Sure. I mean, there's a conversation.
Which is simply points per 100 possessions. It's not like some crazy analytic.
You can also come back and say, but we were the best team in the Eastern Conference when I was the main guy on the floor. Right, so I think there's always that give and take, and you have to see both sides of it. We'll look at the numbers, but like for me on the pod, like I didn't play defensive line in the NFL.
Right.
I go to Yurko. who probably played defensive line at a time when it was a lot tougher to play defensive line because you could get away with a heck of a lot more on the field. And I go, what do you see when you see Montez Sweat? And if Yurko looks at him and he's like, listen, he's got sacks on first down, and he's got sacks in the first quarter. He's got sacks early in the second quarter, and those aren't impactful sacks that mean you're getting to the quarterback at the right time when I need you to get there. So I lean on what the numbers say, which say that Montez Sweat is not pressuring enough. And then I lean on what Yurko says, where he goes, look, I need your pressures in the fourth quarter. I need sacks in the fourth quarter, and that's not good enough. That's how I form opinions based on, I'm going to take the players that have played the game's opinion higher than just what the numbers say.
Of course. But it's the same thing. Like when I look at offense, I talk to Waddle.
Yeah.
And I ask, I will look at a play and I'll send it to Waddle and I'll go, am I seeing the right things here? Like, are we on the same page? And he'll tell me yes or he'll tell me no, and he'll explain why if I'm wrong. Yeah. And that's helpful to me. If I ask Waddle today, is Bryce Young one of the 100 best players in the NFL? I think he would laugh.
Yeah, he's probably going to say that.
So it's just, I don't assign a ton of value to what the players vote as the 100 best players. Like, what I say ultimately doesn't matter. If I'm wrong, nothing happens. I don't buy that Montez Sweat is one of the 100 best players in the league. That's my opinion. Yeah. I hope that he proves me wrong, frankly. I'd like him to be one of the 100 best players because it means this defensive line doesn't have the holes that we think it has. Yeah. And that would be excellent. But like the analytics stuff, I don't understand what it is with the players railing against it as hard as they do. The Jaylen Brown stuff, it felt like bait. Bobby Marks 100%, put the story out. I'm sure someone told him that. I don't think Bobby Marks was lying. But as soon as the story came out, you could go, Jaylen Brown's going to rant about this. 100%. And then he did. The one that really confused me was Josh Hart.
Well, Josh Hart's never been an analytics guy.
He wouldn't have a job if it wasn't for analytics. Yeah,
he is an analytics darling.
He's a 6'5" power forward who doesn't make shots. He would never have a job if not for the fact analytics said you're a better team when he's on the court.
I don't think that I think Josh Hart is the every generation player, right? There's certain players that can play in every generation. There's certain players that can. I think Josh Hart could because he's going to do all of the things that a team values before analytics matter. Some coach would come into a room, look at Josh Hart, and go, you know what? Look, he's not the biggest. But I'll tell you what, he's going to kick the crap out of somebody up and down the court every single night, and he's going to get steals, and he's going to find a way to get blocks, and he's going to do all of the things that we need to see a player do to put us in a position to win games.
You think in the 90s, before small ball became a thing, they would have let Josh Hart play the 4?
I don't think you would have let him play the 4. He would have been more of a guard.
And then he would have been out of the league because he can't hit shots and he's not a good passer.
But he's a good defender.
Right.
That meant a lot in the 90s. Listen, there's a lot of guys in the 90s that when you watch 90s basketball back, you go, why is he on the floor? And then you look at the stat sheet at the end of the game and you go, 2 blocks, 2 steals. Okay. That meant a lot back then. I think that is those are the players, the dirty work players that always find their way on a team. And so I think for Josh Hart being against it, I would say even for Jaylen Brown, I'm going to do everything that it takes to help us try and win a game. And in the situation of this year, it meant me taking more shots. But we've seen Jaylen Brown defensively go, okay, my job today is just make sure that he doesn't go for 40. All right, I'm going to make sure that he doesn't go for 40 and everybody else does their thing. I think the guys that do the dirty work look at analytics and go, well, there's no stat for this. There's no stat to show how many times I'm catching Wemby as he comes off of a screen, and that's why he's slowing down. There's no stat to show how many times, I'm diving for a ball on the floor that gets us that extra possession or that creates something that gets that extra possession. But I think in the past, there were a lot of coaches that would look at that and go, well, that's what we need on the team, and that helps us win. I think a guy we have at the station, there's no analytic that said Yurko's elite.
No.
There's no analytic that says Yurko should have had a 10-year career. There was coaches that looked at Yurko and went, he don't mess up. He's not going to get to the quarterback every time. If he gets there twice, for the love of God, praise him. But I know I don't got to worry about him on the football field. And I know he's going to do his job the right way. I think those are the guys that are generally analytics can kiss my backside guys.
Probably. Which Yurko's kind of an analytics guy.
He is. Like, hey, you're going to dive into the numbers.
Which is...
He'll go on PFF and look at that stuff.
So I don't know. The analytics stuff, I find, here's my problem with it. And this is not a road I saw us going down at all.
I love that we're here.
But my issue with it is the anti-analytics guys, you have a really difficult time even having a conversation with because a lot of them don't take the time to even understand what the stat is or what the stats are or what the things are saying. They just go, I don't want to hear about analytics and put it under an umbrella. When I think, like what you're saying, there's no stat to show this, that, and the other. There are. Like, maybe we don't have access to them. Yeah. But
I'm sure the teams have a stat.
Right. Like if you think, I always hear in baseball, well, you got to have the gut feel on the day. Yeah. If you think that that's been removed or that somehow the analytics that they're using aren't rooted in watching the players play, aren't rooted in film study, you're out of your mind. They are taking all of this into account. Whether it works or not is a different question. But like football analytics where we always get on coaches for going on fourth down. And you're like, well, the analytics said go, but you have to have a gut feeling. Yeah. What if the coach's gut feeling was to go?
Yeah. Yeah. And there are some coaches now that are more inclined by that and feel empowered by it based off of the analytics.
I think it's
that tell you that. We're seeing it more.
I think it's the idea from the anti-analytics crowd that this is the way it feels to me. I don't believe analytics are everything, but I do believe there's a very strong place for them in sports, and we've seen that. There's a reason Oklahoma City's been a model franchise. Yeah. Sam Presti's as analytical as it gets. The Knicks were arguably the most analytical approach team in the NBA last year. They won the title.
Because Thibs, I don't believe, is a big analytics guy.
The Brewers in baseball are the most analytic forward front office. Is it going to help them in a 12-game, 13-game set in the playoffs where you just have to win those games? Maybe not. But will they be the best over the course of 162? We've seen it play out. Yeah. The decisions work more often than they don't. The anti-analytics people, when something doesn't work, that's when they come out and go, well, that was because of analytics.
Yeah. I do think there is I love how Waddle puts it, right? It's a tool in the toolbox. It's something that can be used. I do think in two different, apples to apples here, you would talk about Jaylen Brown and talk about Josh Hart, but I do think there's something to be said, even with, throwing Montez Sweat in there. The analytics are going to say you weren't very good last year on fourth or third down situations or in clutch moments, creating pressure on the quarterback. But at the same time, we don't bring up the analytics for him. Well, how was he when the Bears had a lead? How was he when the Bears actually had their foot on the throats of someone, which wasn't very often last season, right? What does he look like when he actually gets to pin his ears back and be the pass rusher that most people drafted him to be? He hasn't had a lot of that in his career. If this is the season for that, I think those analytics got to be brought up as well. But at the end of the day, if you don't get past the right tackle, the analytics don't matter.
Right.
Because the job is to get home. And so, I think there's a place for it, and I'm sure the players look at it. I know, a lot of the quarterbacks and stuff look at that, especially with looking at DBs and how they play them and stuff like that. But I do agree with Jaylen Brown in the sense of the analytics are great until you need me to go win a playoff series because Jason Tatum is not playing very well.
I agree with that. Well, okay, but Jason Tatum did play well in the final. When they won the title, he averaged a triple-double in the finals. We're not going to say he wasn't playing well.
Offensively, they were there because of Brown.
He averaged a triple-double.
He did.
That means he scored in double digits and assisted in double digits.
Well, we know how to do it.
I'm not saying...
They were not, even as an analytical guy, they were not elite darling shooting nights.
No, they weren't great shooting nights, but this is part of the issue I have with this is I'm going to bring it back to football.
Let's do it.
Because I think there's two sides of the coin. You look at Montez Sweat, 10-sack season, right?
Great.
He was great on that front. But you look at the pressure numbers and then you futurecast it and you go, can a guy who's getting this few pressures repeat a 10-sack season as likely as somebody who's getting pressure on 23% of their rushes? That feels more likely to getting a double-digit sack season. But then there's a flip side to it where I don't like hearing about analytical darling like Aiden Hutchinson, who's got this mammoth pressure rate but doesn't get home very often. What value can I assign on your pressures if they don't result in sacks, if you don't actually get to the quarterback? So I think there's two sides of it where, like, you tell me Aiden Hutchinson's this incredible player. Why don't I see him sack quarterbacks? You tell me Montez Sweat's no good. I do see him sack quarterbacks. Now, is there a question of when those sacks come in a game? Absolutely. That's part of using your eyes and evaluating what's really worth it. But that's where I have a problem with, like, well, Jason Tatum wasn't playing well. There's no analytic that would suggest he was playing poorly. In fact, if you go look at the finals, the Celtics were more efficient with Tatum on and Brown off than they were with both on or with Brown on and Tatum off. So, like, analytically, Tatum was the better team player in the series, but Jalen filled the stat sheet and Jalen got finals MVP. I'm not taking that away from him, but it is, like, annoying to me when then we hear, well, this guy didn't play well because he didn't have a 40-point game or whatever, or he didn't have as many 40-point games, when that's not true.
Yeah, but I think the difference in that is, right, the expectation. I don't go into an NBA Finals and think that Jason Tatum, I get it, he averaged a triple-double. He did not shoot the basketball well pretty much the entire series. He did what he needed to do. He did the dirty work. Jason Tatum ain't paid to be a dirty work guy. Right? So I think it's also the expectation, and with Montez Sweat, we can say that, the expectation of the contract with the analytics. Josh Hart plays a dirty work game.
Same deal.
Praise him. I love it. Everything that he did in those final couple games. OG Anunoby plays a dirty work game. I love what he's doing. OG Anunoby makes, what, $14 million, $15 million, something like that. Now, he might be in the 20s. OG might be a $20 million player. Josh Hart, right, somewhere in that range, though. But, like, I feel good about that. Jason Tatum, $50 million player. I pay you to fill the stat sheet up. I pay you to, the rebounds are great, but I pay you to be the best player on the floor offensively.
Well, he's not their highest paid player.
Who's that?
Jaylen Brown.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, because JB got the contract.
Yeah.
Yeah. JB got the contract after. I mean, listen, and Jaylen Brown won Finals MVP.
Yeah, I'm not taking anything away from him. But when players start doing the whole "I'm the best player" analytics thing, I'm like, come on, man. Like, we don't have to just go so anti against something that you're making an effort. You're not making an effort to even understand it.
Yeah. You shouldn't be anti. I do wonder with some of them, though.
And the other thing too, that just, sorry to cut you off, but that bothers me is, like, nobody's sitting here saying this guy is a bad player. No. The Bobby Marks thing, I think, is outrageous. Any GM that said Jaylen Brown is the 7th best player on a team, come on. That is outrageous.
It was Charlotte, wasn't it? Well, probably not Charlotte now. Actually, Charlotte's making some good moves. It was Sacramento, wasn't it?
If you want to tell me, yeah, maybe. If you want to tell me that he's not good enough in your, like, evaluation of the player, he's not good enough to cost what it would cost to trade for him and then have to pay him to be on your roster, that's different. 7th best player on the team. Stop it. That's outrageous.
Yeah, that's what you're doing. I get what all the analytics say, too. There's probably not 7 players in basketball better than Jaylen Brown.
No, that's also outrageous. I don't think he's a top 8 player in the sport.
Jaylen Brown is the best two-way player in basketball.
No, he's not.
100%.
No, he is not.
Who's better?
He is not.
Who's better?
I'm so you know who says he's the best two-way player in the sport? Jaylen Brown. Says I'm the best two-way player in the sport.
I think the players.
He's an actively bad team defender.
As a team defender, I would say
this is where I get annoyed. There is not a statistic that would say the Celtics are better defensively when he's on the floor. In fact, every statistic says they're worse defensively when he's on the floor. He can't possibly be the best two-way player in the league. If you are a worse team defensively with this player on the floor, then he's not the best two-way player in the league.
And I don't have the analytics in front of me, but just watching a lot of ball last year, I watched a lot of great players struggle to get past Jaylen Brown.
You're a hooper.
I watched a lot of great players struggle to get past Jaylen Brown last year. Like, and he can go give you 25.
This is the other thing, too. I'm like, I grow tired of doing this. I get exhausted of it because there is a part of me that I want to be the guy like you that sits there and you've got the analytics guy on one side and the, like, dark side of the bus, and I'm on the light side of the bus going, that boy nice. I want to be that fan. I want to be.
Listen, I just think I don't let the analytics ruin my perception if you go out there and prove that you, like, the bottom line, the one stat that matters, analytics be dead. The one stat that matters is winning.
Of course.
Jaylen Brown did a lot of winning last year.
Yeah, and then he gagged in Game 7.
100%. Yeah, I agree.
He played absolutely atrocious basketball in Game 7.
And when you play terribly, I'll call you out on it. But the Celtics were not expected to be a team
No, of course not.
any contention last year. And I think that's the thing for me, right?
And I think he should value himself as highly as he values himself, but don't do it by denigrating
analytics,
a part of the sport that has mattered deeply to championship teams. Yeah. Your team is built on analytics. Yeah. Here's the biggest problem I have with it, is the Celtics are built on analytics. They are built on get Jaylen Brown in an advantageous position to take a shot. They are built on we're going to have 50% of our field goal attempts be from three-point range because we're going to create open looks with off-ball movement and with ball movement to get Jaylen Brown a shot that we can expect he will hit more often than not. The process, the system you play in is designed by analytics. So then to come out and say analytics are trash, analytics are the reason you were a finals MVP. Because all of this had to work in concert to create good shots for you. Yeah. It's not like he was some iso ball guy in the finals.
No, he wasn't. He was the system definitely helped him. It got him open looks. It got him open shots. But again, right, like you just said, analytically, Jaylen Brown was not an analytic darling in the finals. There were stats that say he was better.
No, I know.
But when it came to put ball in hoop and
he was great.
He was phenomenal.
But I'm also,
and I think that's the part for me where I'm like, I think you got to have the analytics. You have to be, and I'm a big proponent of being a fan. I don't want to say I'm in the dark one. But I do also look at it and go, yeah, this is what the analytics say. Now let's see what happens when the ball's rolled on the floor.
Right, but I'm saying I understand why he feels the way that he feels, but removing what he did, which was shoot the ball at a high level and score, which is what he was paid to do, and he was great at it, and it won him a championship. Those shots existed because of the analytics that the team employs. 100%. That's my point. It's like this wasn't happening in a vacuum where the rest of the team wasn't on the floor and you were some iso ball guy hitting Steph Curry shots over contested Steph Curry shots, which is the same deal. Any shot Steph Curry takes is a good shot analytically because he's going to hit them. Yeah. Where like DeMar DeRozan making 35% of his mid-range jumpers, back him up. If you hit 30% from three, that's better. That's the whole point. Is like, the shots were created for you because of the analytical approach that the coach in the front office took in assembling your team and designing your offense.
But the reality is, that don't look as good. You don't want to see DeMar shooting 30%. You want to see DeMar shooting 38% from that mid-range. Well, actually, he's shooting.
No, because if
he's actually shooting like 48% from the mid-range. He's really good at it.
Yeah, and like
he has outscored Stephen Curry in his NBA career, and that blows my mind.
I say it in but it's just the analytic is like if you shoot 33% from three, that's better than shooting 45% from two because the points are more from three.
You're getting more value.
Which is part of why I have a hard time with the NBA regular season too, because it's a math problem. Yeah. Like the game has become the regular season over the course of 82, and it's why I can't stand the Celtics style of play. I don't find it aesthetically pleasing. It'll win you 60 games over an 80-game set. We got to win 16 games at the end of the season. And once you get to the playoffs, I've always believed this. In baseball, in football, in football analytics, I think it's so small sample size, it can be whatever it is anyways.
Because I think it is kind of the roll the ball out there and see. Like, I'm sure there's some analytic that says someone's good at blocking Myles Garrett. Now go block Myles Garrett.
In baseball, I can't stand, because like in baseball, well, this guy doesn't hit lefties well, so I'm going to pinch hit for him and leverage spots throughout the regular season. This will work more often than it won't. We'll win more games than we won't. Yeah. When you get to the playoffs, I need your best players having the biggest at bats. You can't be pinch hitting for some utility guy because you like his numbers against lefties more. Like, just let your guys play. In the NBA, find an open shot and hit it. I'm not worried about he's going to hit 40% of the time. No, I need you to make the shot in front of you to win the game tonight. I think once you get into the small sample playoff tournament style stuff, the analytics got to go out the window. We just got to win a game. But I get over the long haul, this stuff matters.
Yeah. And I think that's the difference, right? We've gotten into such an analytical era and so much in sports and football for sure. There were so many moments where like the iconic or the elite moments that are our memories. When you go back and look at the numbers, Muggs did not have good games. Right? A Kobe Bryant playoff run, right? You'll look at it and be like, man, Kobe put up 30 and he put the Celtics out and he like, 20, 25, 48. Holy
Yeah,
Jesus Christ, what happened there?
It's like Kobe scores 41 on 46 shots.
You know what I mean? Like, it is that. And then
and it's like, Kobe, did we have to win this game by 3, or could we maybe have deferred and blown them out?
But I think that's the thing, right? Those iconic moments, dare I say a little aura on the field.
That's what Caleb's got.
Off of not only are the analytics there, but I look good when I'm doing it. That's to me a Myles Garrett. I'm sure there's every analytic in the world that says Myles Garrett's elite, but you know what gives him the aura? He just throws a guy out of the way, right? Who's the right tackle for the Packers that they drafted? That what gives him the aura is Jordan run as he's getting blown past, chasing Jordan Love down.
Same quarterback comparison. Like analytics love Jordan Love, and don't love Caleb.
Yeah.
If I were married to the analytics to this point, I would be like, yeah, Jordan Love's unquestionably the better quarterback than Caleb. He's the guy I'd rather have going forward. That's not the case. I don't believe that.
Yeah. And in the analytics, I'll tell you who they loved. They loved Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins was an analytic darling. He was a fantasy darling. He was everything but hey, I need a win in the playoffs.
Yep.
Oh, buddy.
Dak Prescott.
Calm down. I'm going to sit back here. Dak Prescott. That's why I call him Black Kirk Cousins.
Analytically loved. Is Dak Prescott a guy that I'm looking for to be my quarterback if I got to win one game? No.
Yeah. It is funny because that's why I think you have to have a middle, maybe even middle. I would say a 60-40 viewpoint, right? You got to know ball. You got to be able to understand, right? At a certain point, somebody's going to go out there and just have to kick someone's butt. But I think there is hey, let's put this guy in the best position to kick someone's butt. And that's where the analytics come in.
Correct.
And you got to have that balance. There's some guys online, I mean, you guys know, whatever his name is, that freaking glazes anything that Jordan Love does. And, I mean, he's like a professional ball washer.
Peter Bukowski?
Yeah.
Locked on Packers guy?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he does work for one of the same networks as me. Oh, well, I'll stand on it. He's a professional ball washer. You know what I mean? But he's got all the analytics. But then when you go, but he lost the game. Well, here's all the reasons why everyone else is at default for why he lost this game.
I think some of that is true. I think we get a little quarterback centric in the discourse because, like, it's what I always say about Josh Allen. Is like, well, he can't get the job done. Well, he also can't play defense for 13 seconds. He can't throw and catch the ball. And I'll say it for Jordan Love. Jordan Love was great against the Bears in the playoff game.
He was.
He can't catch the ball for Jaden Reed. So the game's
over if he catches that.
There is a part of it, and like we have to evaluate what happened around the player. But I'll say that, and then this out of the same mouth, I'll also say Jordan Love wasn't good enough against the Eagles, and he blew a shot at beating the Niners in San Francisco. And look, man, you get paid to win those games. You get paid to be the guy at the end of those games. Yeah. There are days I'll let you off the hook a little bit more. Against the Bears is one of them. There was a ferocious comeback by the Bears, and you got screwed by Jaden Reed. That'll happen. But now you're really in the jackpot, and it's time to go. Yeah. So I think you can't blame it all on the quarterback. Anybody that says Josh Allen's not good because he hasn't been able to beat the Chiefs, well, then you just haven't watched the games. He's been the better quarterback in virtually all of those games.
That's the one, I'm not going to lie to you, I'll never forgive that game. Greatest game I've ever seen. I'll never forgive that game because it made them change the rule to
guaranteed possessions,
which only makes me mad because that was the best offense in football versus the best defense in football. And I'm sorry, defensively, you should be able to put up a fight a little bit. Travis Kelce shouldn't be dancing butt naked in the back of the end zone, wide open. And Pat Mahomes goes, "Oh, I can't throw this right to him. Touchdown, game over." Like, I love that game. It's amazing, but I also hate it because I think watered down overtimes a little bit in the.
I like that the sudden death is gone.
I love sudden death. I don't like. I should say this. I don't like kick a field goal to win it. I've always been. Well,
it was never that because if you kick a field goal, then you get the possession back.
Well, I'm saying before.
Yeah.
The old one. I've
but
never
now
liked that one.
I hated when it was like if you score a touchdown, the game's over.
Really?
Yeah, give both teams a chance to touch the ball.
But it's the best. I think that is right to have the quarterback centric conversation. That is, we just want to see what the quarterback can do to come back. We don't really care what the defense does. We just want to see what the quarterback can do to answer back to what that quarterback just did.
I think people want to see offense. And I think if the game ends even, going, well, if they score a touchdown, the game's over. No, come on. Let both teams have a chance here. Give a rebuttal. You played 60 minutes and it was dead even, and now we're going to end it on one possession if they get in the end zone?
But it's the best defense in football.
The Bills?
The Bills were the best defense in football that year.
I don't know if that was true.
I think so.
My biggest gripe against Sean McDermott was he was a defensive head coach who constantly had horrible defenses.
I want to say the Bills were the best defense. I think they were.
What year was that? 20 or 21?
20 or 20. Was that the short season? I don't remember which season that was. Was that the short season? It might have been 20.
Let me go to my RBS or my analytics website.
Yeah, let's get the analytics on this. Now, this might have fully been right NFL.com's best defense in football. I don't know which one I was looking at there, but I'm pretty sure that was the best offense versus the best defense, and it came down to a final possession of
Bills were the number one defense that year.
Defense in football. You should
what happened
be
to
on
him?
The field for more than 13 seconds.
What happened to that defense, man?
You should be able to be on the field for more than 13 seconds.
You can't give up a simple hitch route to Travis Kelce. Ridiculous.
Hey, man, we appreciate y'all for tuning in to Show Up. We got to stop doing this.
It's too long.
It is fun. But we always come in here with like 25-minute pod. We're hitting these topics. We're getting out. I think we've been here an hour.
Maybe more.
Hey, for the great Shea, Norling, it is your boy, Pat the Designer. Back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bet on. One love. Peace.
There's a difference when you drive a Cadillac, refined, confident, unmistakably well-crafted. And at Advantage Cadillac and Hodgkins, the experience reflects the brand. Professional, transparent, respectful of your time. If you're considering a Cadillac, visit Advantage Cadillac and Hodgkins.